Once you see the look, you never forget it. And when it speaks to you, then you know it's something the person couldn't have manufactured. And for example, sometimes it will speak a language that the host does not know. Now, how do you explain that? Very difficult to explain. There are several factors related to the interest in exorcism today. One is the times in which we live, the uncertainty. Crime, violence, drug usage, a culture out of control in many ways, violent, irrational acts being committed by people who otherwise seem to be somewhat normal. What's the explanation for people going postal, if you will? I think the other is the attempt of Western society to do what Eastern cultures haven't done. Allow rationalism and scientism to take over to the extent that we deny the realm of the metaphysical, of the otherworldly and the supernatural. And there's an innate hunger, I believe, that God's created within every person to have a spiritual dimension. And when we try to overlay that with whether it's materialism or scientism or our pursuit of hedonism, then we're denying people a basic human instinct. And they may not see it as that, but the cry for something which is paranormal, something out there beyond the natural senses, is part of every human being. And the whole exorcism thing taps into it. It says that there's something out there. It might be good. It might be evil. We need to know. The movie The Devil Inside talks about the stuff of demonic transference. This film suggests the possibility that none is safe when we all are at risk, and that is true. But I don't want people to unnecessarily fear that which is evil and supernatural. For those who have strong character, who have faith in God, and who live lives that are morally appropriate, they don't need to worry about a demon jumping upon them just because they walk down a dark hallway or they hear some spooky sound in the night. But the people who are at risk, that we find, particularly in Western culture, are people who have experienced traumatic things in their life and they've never processed it sufficiently through some kind of therapy or counseling, hold it inside, and the fear and the anger builds, providing an opening for demonic forces. So I would encourage not everyone to fear that a demon is going to get them because something scary happened, but I would also encourage those who have had severe trauma, and we find that particularly in the area of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse, to get some help. Because if they don't get help, that could be an open door for the demon, or for the demon from somebody else to transfer to them. To find help for someone who has been traumatized and has a possible open door, or as we call it in exorcism, a legal right, just basic counseling, good therapy, go into a rabbi, pastor, priest, some spiritual authority figure that they can talk to who knows how to counsel people through the means of processing bad things which have happened in your life and get some perspective on it. Just sometimes a good close friend that you can talk to. But I find that the majority of possession victims have some terrible thing in their past and they've never told anybody. And it's very common. They come to me as an exorcist and they say, now I'm about to tell you something I've never told anyone in my life. And when they say that, I know there's a good chance of possession. The question of whether a person knows possession exists is a very good one. About half do and half don't. Half of them have an inkling something's going on. They have strange sensations, feelings. You know, they may try to go to church and, for example, see the Eucharist or communion and get sick when they do it. Or they see a cross or a religious object and they feel very uncomfortable around it. Some people tell me they go to church and they can't pray or maybe can't sing or can't even talk when they're in there. But there are other people who don't have a clue. But other people do because they see them exhibiting strange irrational behavior from time to time. and may even see them make complete switches in their personality. And they see it, but the person themselves, they don't have the capacity to see it. Almost everybody on whom we do an exorcism needs another exorcism, and sometimes 3, 4, 5, or more, because there are lots of demons inside that you don't always get the first time. And you have to have successive exorcisms, just like with therapy. You don't go see a therapist and get everything worked through on the first visit. It takes a while for the emotions to get down to the deepest level at which you need the psychotherapy. Same thing with possession. So there are multiple demons in people, and you don't always get the worst ones the first time around.